息苦しいならフード開ければ。なんで黒岩くんが中にいるの？
待って、落ち着いて。
Medaka's Impervious to My Charms, episode number 8. And, you know, my friends, I've told you guys before, one of my biggest worries for this show is how stale it could be when it has a shtick. When a show has a shtick, and I'm going to explain what that means in a second. If you don't know, it's totally okay. But a shtick is basically when a show is like a one-trick pony. When a show is centered around like one thing. If a good example of that is another show called 𝐜𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭 Can't Communicate. She cannot speak for the life of her. It's not that she can't physically speak. She has like a mental block where she can't speak. So the show is centered around that. A romance show a couple of seasons ago was called A Sign of Affection. The show was centered around a girl who was deaf trying to be normal in a world, and she came across somebody who learned sign language for her. But the shtick of that show is the fact that she was deaf and kind of her troubles in life and in love that she was trying, to get over. So that's kind of what the shtick of this show is. The thing of the show is that you have Mona, who is trying to pursue this guy heavily, Medaka, because she can't get through to him, and everyone loves her but him, and she needs him the most, which is, it's a common thing. That's not too crazy. But on the opposite side, you have this guy who apparently grew up in like underneath a rock, who's been trying to go through like monk classes, but apparently quit or something like that. He's not going to be a monk anymore. And he got sent off to Tokyo, one-bedroom apartment on his own, and now his thing is like, I'm allergic to girls. I cannot because of my monk heritage. But he's going to break anyways. So the show is all about a push and pull between them. I thought, for me, I mentioned this when they introduced Asahi as a character. I was like, okay, I'm glad they introduced Asahi as a character because the show was at the risk of getting stale, aka boring, pretty quickly, and the comedy and the charm of Mona trying to go after Medaka trying to resist can get old pretty quick. Asahi was pretty much non-existent this episode. They showed her, she lost the ball, like they did like a push and pull, where like, oh, let's get Medaka's ball. She lost. And that was it. I thought she was going to come and try and sabotage them or basically just try and do anything else. And she didn't. So she was non-existent, which led us to only deal with Medaka and Mona. And the show kind of is poo-poo for it. Because again, it has Mona trying to scheme on how she can take a picture with Medaka. He is trying to wrap her like a mummy. He says the most crazy cringe line I've heard ever. At some point in the episode, he's trying to wrap her in this not the bandage, but in the toilet paper, and he says the cringiest line I've heard in my entire life. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong transition. Doesn't matter. But he says this, right? He says, I can feel her through the paper. I can feel her through the paper, okay? So I did laugh at that moment, not because it was just so cringy. Because it was so cringy, I laughed. Not because, like, it wasn't funny, it was cringy. So there was that moment, and she tries to get him, like, get me closer, and let's, whatever, and he throws a fit, he throws a hissy fit, like a kid, and throws the toilet paper. She's like, what the F, dude? And they lose, and then she tries to take a picture with him later, and he zips himself up, and then later on again in the episode, his friends are like, yo, you got, she was mad at you. You need to go apologize to her, whatever. And he has his moment, he has his chance to apologize, but instead he legitimately runs away. This 16-year-old kid, like, he runs away because he's afraid to say sorry, or because he's a girl. Like, it's getting old, and it's just not enjoyable to watch. I think the most enjoyable thing to watch this episode was when she accidentally pulled him in because her dress was getting unzipped, and there was some confusion there because him and Tsubami had the same costume. So big height difference, but whatever, dude. She pulled him in, and that was a legit, like, that was a cool, like, again, I don't want to use the word funny because I didn't laugh, but that was like a fun moment of the show. But the rest of it is just getting stale. It's just getting stale, and it sucks, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. This episode was a 6 out of 10. I didn't enjoy it. Cute moments. That's it. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, my friends. I'll see you next week. I hope it gets better. It looks like it's going to introduce another girl for no effing reason. I'll see you then.